Hello and welcome to the short Vort on Parshas Vayeshev from Revii the Chamishi. This week's Parsha we have the introduction of Tamar in her only appearance, but a monumental one, as she becomes the progenitor of Mashiach. And by the way, as a riddle, who is the father of Tamar? We'll get back to that later. Anyhow, in Perek Lamed Ches, so we discussed the story, and it starts off with Yehuda looking for a wife after he has been downgraded in the eyes of his brothers, as they're upset about the pain that he has caused to their father Yakov regarding Yosef. And amazingly, he chooses a wife of someone who's described as a Kanani. And the reason this is crazy is because Avram and Yitzchak were very emphatic about not having the descendants marry into tribes that, as we've discussed in a previous short Vort, the Kanani had these genetic characteristics that they did not want to have mixed with the Bnei Israel because they'd be passed down from generation to generation. And how could Yehuda marry Kanani? So the commentators explain that Kanani doesn't necessarily mean someone from Canaan, but it means a merchant. And we see different sources that support that thesis elsewhere in Tanakh. So Yehuda has three sons from his wife named Bashua, the daughter of the Kanani or merchant. But as Mashiach was destined to come from a combination of Yehuda and Tamar, this mother, especially if she was a Kanani, then Bashua had to be eliminated from the picture, so she died, and also her impure lineage. The first two sons died, and were, even though they had married Tamar. In this way, Yehuda and Tamar could be together again. And the loss also reflects Mida Keneged Mida, an exact punishment for Yehuda, the feeling of loss of children, because he made his father Yaakov feel the loss of his son Yosef. Now Tamar definitely wants to be with Yehuda and have descendants, so she pretends to be a Zona. And according to this Midrash, Yehuda did not want to be with her. He wanted to walk past her, but he kept getting drawn back against his will, beyond his control, to be with her and to fulfill his destiny. And there are various halachic discussions on how this could be permitted halachically for the father-in-law with the daughter-in-law, but in the case of Yibum, it could be that it would be anyone in the family is eligible. If there's no brothers, even the father could be eligible. Also, it's before Matan Torah rather than after. So while it's an unpreferred and definitely not a distinguished way for it to happen, it's still kosher. And finally, Tamar, the daughter of Shem, making her a daughter of a priest, is sentenced to death by Yehuda for the apparent harlotry. But she chooses, instead of saving her life by unmasking him, she does not humiliate him and allows him to confess. And we learn this as a major lesson, as cited in the Gemara in Bracha, that Gemara in Bava Metzia, that Noach Ladam sheipol lekivshan letocha kivshan va'al yalbim pnei chaveru b'rabim. That it's better for a person to be burned to death than to embarrass someone else. And with further analysis, we can see that it says Noach, that it's an option rather than chayav. It doesn't say it's obligated, because it's a difficult thing to do, and unfortunately we see with Lashon Hara and other insults that it's very common for people to be embarrassed by others. And why is it so bad for someone to be to embarrass someone else? That's like killing them, because when someone's embarrassed, their blood, they turn white, their blood flows away, and that's the lifeblood of a person, and only after a few seconds does it come back. And some people are so embarrassed at times that they actually would rather be dead than to be suffering the embarrassment. And Rav Chasman, in his Sefer Ohel Yohel, says we learn from this that it's better to be burned in the physical fire of this world than to be burned in the big fire of Gehenna in the future world for embarrassing someone. And he gives a parable, a mashal, that someone's trapped, and the two exits, one is blocked by an inferno, a large fire, and out of control, and one is by a small fire. So he's obviously going to try to get out by bypassing the smaller fire in order to escape. So the same applies spiritually. That it's better for one to face the smaller fire, that out of this world, than to have to be punished in the big fire of Gehenna for embarrassing someone else. So all this discussion is to emphasize the seriousness of not embarrassing someone or putting them down, and that's something that all too often, was an art form when in our days of school, and even after leaving school, people think they can win points with their peers and do for putting someone else down. So that's something that we learn from Tamar to avoid. So I suggest that you share this short Vort with anyone you know that is named Tamar. And thank you for listening. Have a wonderful day, a wonderful week, a wonderful Shabbos, and a wonderful Hanukkah.